Reports are a necessary part of working with Microsoft Access, since we frequently need to send information to people who don't have the program. Printing or PDFing reports will work quite well, but the report has to be able to stand on its own and be self-explanatory. So sometimes a subreport will give us that big picture plus details combo, which helps. A subreport can be added in two main places within a regular report, either in a group footer, where it augments group level data, or in the report footer for summary and other overall purposes. We start by creating or opening a report. I'll use the one over here, products by category, and I'll bring it up in design view. If we have any groups already in place, such as the group for category number, we can often add the subreport to the group footer, our first example. There's a tool for this in design view, the subform subreport tool. We find it under the design tab in the controls group. I'll just scroll down here and click on the button. Then we move the cursor into the space we want to put our subreport. In this case, as I said, our footer, and give a click over here toward the left side. First step in the wizard is to tell it where the data will come from. I'll use an existing table, so I make sure that button is pushed and click Next. Since I want to have data for each supplier by category, I will need to use the table of suppliers, and I can go ahead and select it from the list here. The particular fields I want will be supplier ID, company, and phone. Having selected those, I can contact the supplier in any category for whatever reasons. I click on Next, and then I see the key step. To make sure that the main report can talk to the subreport and vice versa, each telling the other which field will act as a link. So if, as in this case, there's a common field between them, like category number, I can use it to tie supplier info to the products by category. Luckily, the program recognized this, so I simply have to make sure I've got this selected and click Next again. We can give our subreport a name, and click Finish. After a second or two, the subreport will show up. Most of the time, our next step would be to refine the layout of the subreport, resizing and moving the various parts so they fit the width of the page, making sure labels are visible, and so on. I'll just mention that it's fairly easy to do this in design view. A subreport is just another kind of report and can be polished by the same techniques. Clicking on the box to resize or move it, grabbing the separate movement handles to, for example, move my label up a bit and make both parts easily visible. Another variation is the ability to add an entire table to a report as a sub-report. This isn't quite as common, but if we want report level data as a summary for the entire report, we can make the report footer a little taller, as I've done here, grab a table, such as once again our table of suppliers, and drag it directly into the report footer, allowing a little room for our label as we did before. When I let go, the subreport wizard pops up once more. The main difference this time is we don't want to link it to the main report. I can click None to disable that link. The reason is we don't want this subreport to give data on a per record or per group basis, but for the report as a whole. By unlinking it, we set it up just that way. I click Next, and again I have to add a title. Don't have to worry about the naming convention because this is merely a label. I click Finish once more, and our other subreport is in place. If I switch over to Layout View, I can see that each category data subsection is in place. If I look at the end of the report, I can see the table of supplier data has been placed where I asked for it, thereby allowing me to use subreports, as I said at the beginning, to give us as complete a report as possible, something that can stand on its own.